Good morning. Myself Varun Kumar, faculty, SNS College of Physiotherapy. So today we will see about the topic called parts of the brain. So introduction: the human brain is the main organ of the human nervous system, and it is located in the head. And this brain is protected by the bone called skull. So there will be a cerebral hemispheres, two cerebral hemispheres that is formed by the cerebrum, and it forms the largest part of the human brain and are situated above the other brain structures. So this is the superior to the other brain structures, and it forms the two-thirds of the total brain structures. During embryonic development, the brain is initially composed of three vesicles. So initially in our embryonic level, it forms with three vesicles. It is the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Later on, it's getting progressed. It divided into five brain divisions. That is the telencephalon, diencephalon, mesencephalon, metencephalon, and also the myelencephalon. Okay. In our embryonic brain development, so forebrain. So these forebrain consist of telencephalon and then a diencephalon, and this is derived from the brain structures. That is the cerebrum, thalamus, and then the hypothalamus. And also the brain cavities present here is the lateral ventricles and then the third ventricles. So the associated cranial nerves present in this level, that is the olfactory nerve and then the optic nerve. Next is the midbrain, that is the mesencephalon, and the derived brain structure is the midbrain. So the brain cavities present here are mesencephalic aqueduct, and also the cranial nerves involved here is third cranial nerve and then the fourth cranial nerve. So next type of division is the hindbrain, where the metencephalon and myelencephalon are present here, and it is the derivative from the brain structure called pons, cerebellum, and then the medulla oblongata. So here the brain cavities consist of two fourth ventricles, and also the cranial nerve present here are fifth cranial nerve as well as the remaining all cranial nerves from 60th cranial nerve to the 12th cranial nerve. Now we getting into the structure of the brain. So the brain consists of one-fifth of the body weight, and also the brain having a weight vary from 1300 to 1400 grams. So the membranes covering the brain, that is the meninges. So the meninges is the membrane which covers the brain, and these meninges consist of three layers or three matters. So outer layer is called as the dura matter, middle layer is called as the arachnoid matter, and inner layer is called as the pia matter. So the brain is divided into various sections, that is the cerebrum, diencephalon, brainstem, and also the cerebellum. So initially it is formed by the cerebrum, and this cerebrum is further divided into cerebral cortex and as well as the cerebral medulla. And next diencephalon, and this is divided into thalamus, hypothalamus, and then the pineal body. So next brainstem, it divided into pons, medulla oblongata, and as well as the midbrain. So here we see means initially there will be a midbrain, then followed by pons, then followed by medulla. So here this one is called as a cerebrum, forebrain. The middle part is called as the midbrain, and posterior part is called as the hindbrain. So the cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, and the function of the cerebrum are responsible for the memory, intelligence, thinking, speaking, reading, writing, and also the emotional responses. So diencephalon is present inside the cerebrum above the brainstem, and the function of the diencephalon or the task includes sensory function, food intake control, and then body sleep cycle. Next is the thalamus. So the function of the thalamus is to regulate the action for sensation and also the movement. So hypothalamus function is the control of the body temperature and also hunger, thirst, then emotional reactions. That is like a pleasure, fear, and also the autonomic nervous system. So next one is the basal ganglia. So the basal ganglia is the coordination of the voluntary muscle movements. It is responsible for the coordinated movements. Then medulla oblongata. So it contains vital centers. So medulla oblongata contains the vital centers. Thus, it is responsible for the various vital signs in our body. That is the cardiovascular center, which is controls the BP, respiratory center, which controls the respiration, then reflex center, which controls the vomiting, coughing, sneezing, and then the swallowing. So next structure is the brainstem. So the brainstem consists of midbrain, and it contains the center for the control of balance and movement of the eyes. Next, below to the midbrain, that is the pons, which is situated in the front of the cerebellum and below the midbrain and above the medulla. It consists of mainly nerve fibers, and it controls certain respiratory functions. Next one is the cerebellum. Cerebellum function is to regulate the posture and then the postural activities, and it is responsible for the muscle coordination, maintenance of the balance, and then it controls the voluntary movements. The ventricles of the brain. The ventricular system is composed of two lateral ventricles, that is right and left ventricles, third ventricles, and then the fourth ventricles. So in this image, we will see this one is the lateral ventricle, and this one is the third ventricle, and then the fourth ventricle. So bilateral lateral ventricle, third ventricle, and then the fourth ventricle. These pons midbrain, pons medulla oblongata. This one is the cerebellum and this one is the cerebrum. Okay, so the lobes of the brain. So there will be a several lobes. That is the frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe, and these lobes consist majorly of the separate parts. Okay. Thank you.